The bantamweight matchup, we got Jonathan the Dragon Martinez versus Davey Grant, man. And listen, this is going to be a really good matchup. And I said on the betting show earlier this week that if you don't know who Jonathan Martinez is yet, you're going to find out this weekend, man. This dude is an absolute stud. 13-3 in MMA, 4-2 in the UFC, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions, 4 decisions. And he's fighting a really game dude. And that's the thing, Davey Grant, man, this is a dude who was training out there with Tom Aspinall and Darren Till up in SBG, Manchester, or whatever the case may be. But this is a dude who basically gets his wins by submission. 8 submission wins, 2 knockouts, and 2 decision wins. And he's coming off of a big knockout win against Martin Day. So I'm going to say this first and foremost right off the bat, man. One thing that Jonathan Martinez needs to watch out for is Davey Grant's left hand, man. He loves the check left hook, and he actually knocked out Martin Day with that check left hook clean in the 3rd round. However, if he didn't land that knockout, man, Martin Day was cruising to a very clear and decisive victory. And actually, he dropped Davey Grant with a mean head kick when Grant was just trying to close distance a little too recklessly in the 1st round, which then moves to my direct point of, if you don't know anything about Jonathan Martinez, the one thing you should know is he's probably one of the most underrated strikers in the UFC, but especially regarding his kicks. In his last fight against Thomas Almeida, he threw like 6-7 kicks before even trying to pop a jab out there. That's how comfortable this dude is with his high level of dexterity and kicks and striking and whatnot. So let me ask you off the bat, man, do you feel I want to kind of go through this one a little bit quickly, man, because I don't think this is going to be that competitive a match personally. You know what I mean? Can you convince me why Davey Grant would be able to get the job done against Jonathan Martinez, or why he would be able to make this a lot more interesting than I think it is currently?
Well, to start off, I'm with you on that boat, man. I think it's going to be a real uphill battle. But I think the only way Davey Grant can actually get a little success, and I think it's just naturally how he is, man. He's wiry. Yeah. He's a very weird build. He's very unassuming, small legs, small frame, but he's very aggressive. And what I like about him most, like I said, he's wiry. So you hit him, you hurt him, he's going to come back even harder. He might have been a little easier to get the win over at the start of the match when you just put him out in the first couple minutes. Because once you actually start hurting him and touching him up, man, he just gets more and more mad and starts to fight better. I attributed to when you're playing any sport, contact sport, you take your first hit and then you're like, oh, okay, now this is a game. Same thing with Grant, man. I think if Jonathan Martinez starts to play with his food, it's going to be a little bit harder to actually get Grant out there. Because like you said, in the Martin Day fight, man, he was out. He was put out. He got dropped in the 1st round. The 2nd round was a little bit closer, but still Martin Day was winning very decisive. It was a 10-9 for Day. And without that KO win, man, it was a loss. It was a loss to Davey Grant, and it was an astonishing knockout because he needed that win. And it was a good fight, but it's going to be hard to say any way that Davey Grant just completely dominates the fight.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second, because I have one path to victory for this dude, Davey Grant, that's actually very possible. It can totally be realized. And what that is Jonathan Martinez he's a southpaw striker, and he loves to stand really heavy on that lead leg. And Davey Grant loves to chop away at those legs, man, the calf kicks. I think that'll be one way if he could beat up Martinez's leg and then get the fight to the ground. I think he could win this fight. He could truly win the fight if that's the game plan. Now, I think Martinez is too high level to allow that to happen, personally. And it's not like this dude is some unexperienced prospect. He actually has 12-4. He has one less fight than Davey Grant. Davey Grant is considered a true veteran of the game. So I don't think it'll happen, but you always have to kind of put that possibility out there, because expect the unexpected. That's the name of the UFC game, of the MMA game just in general, just combat sports in general. But nonetheless, man, the last point that I wanted to make out is that Jonathan Martinez has a 61% takedown defense, and he could strike just as good going forward and going backward. So I think it's going to be a long night for Davey Grant. But nonetheless, man, watch out for that check left hook. And he is a BJJ purple belt. So that's also something to be taken into consideration. So